Hey, we're here. It's so exciting. DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy USA and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And here, I'm going to change things around. Hang on just a second. I have drapes now. There. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So excited to be here. I am loving life, and I'm loving life in Chester, Idaho. Population 257. Eehaw, right? But we just moved in. We've been here a little over a month and loving life. So let's get going on our topic for today, and that is engaging our kids in creativity. And we specifically talked in this episode about engaging them in our efforts of being creative, right? And then supporting them in their efforts to be creative as well. So my guest on this episode is Tymika Chambliss-Williams, and she is a media production producer. She has won Best Director in some of her film festivals. She has made a bunch of short films. She has helped other people make films for them. And so she does both creative films that are for entertainment and enjoyment, but then she also helps industries and stuff create videos for whatever purposes that they have. So she's got 3 kids. And her youngest, she calls her the baby, and so I know she's less than 5, I can't remember, but she's small. And then she's got a 13-year-old daughter, and then a son that is 17, I'm thinking. Anyway, Tymika has so much energy, and she is so much just fun to listen to and to talk with. And so we had a great time talking. So you can imagine that Tymika has a ton of personal efforts in creativity, right? There's always a shoot going on or a commercial that they're doing, or they're looking for talent, or all of those things. And she's found that her middle child, her older daughter, the baby's a girl too, but she has found that her middle child is really into this, and she's really good at what she does. And so she'll go on the set and she'll help out with some of the things that are going on with just arranging things, helping people, helping with cameramen and all of this stuff. She really gets into it, and this might be her bag in the future. Her older child, her son, is more into the technology side of things and in gaming, but beyond gaming, in designing games and in understanding how to code those things, and that's his bag. And then, of course, the little 5-year-old is just the showstopper. And she loves being creative and doing crafts and doing art and all of those things that are really appropriate for someone at that age. And so we really talked about how it is good to engage your kids in the things that you love to do and make them a part of that. When we lived in Las Vegas, we were there for 20 years, and we had just some great dear friends. And the husband is just a phenomenal singer, just an amazing voice. And he was into performance and doing stage and all of that. And it was their youngest, their daughter, who was the youngest, killer voice herself, very talented. And so here's a clue. If you ever go to Las Vegas for fun and you want to see a great show, check out the Academy for Arts. It's a public high school, but it's all about all kinds of different creativity and art. But see if they have a play going, because really their plays are as good as anything else I've seen on stage. it's amazing. And so they've got kids who are learning about set design and sound and performance and direction and costume making, and all of that is part of this high school. Cool, huh? Right? So anyway, they have these fantastic shows, and we went and saw his daughter in the first high school version of Sweeney Todd. Whoa, right? But it was all redone and set up so that it was appropriate for high school kids, and she was the female lead and did phenomenally. She was just so good, and it was fun seeing as they were growing up. From the time she was little, she would sing with her dad and perform and did just such great things, and they connected. Now the wife in this family she's just talented at so many things, but she's an event planner. She does weddings. She did our daughter's wedding, and she just is a great planner. If you wanted a party done right, call Renee. She was fantastic. And so her older daughter got into that and was really a big part of that. And her daughter was into hair and nails and went to school and got all that done. And so they engaged that work together eventually. And so when they would do big events, her daughter would come and do hair and makeup and nails. And she was so good at all of that. So they took what was creative in their children and in their own lives, and then they just kind of went with it, and it all went. Now their son, their older son, academically really high, very, very smart, and he liked to play basketball, and so he was on the high school basketball team, and even though that may not have been their exact thing, they were always there for their son, always there at the games, cheering him on and being so proud at every award he got. And now he's an attorney. I think he's in Texas somewhere, but he's an attorney with a large firm and doing very well. And I thought that this was a family that was just a great example of, and this is not a family we talk about on the podcast. You're getting an extra, right? That's what you get when you come and listen to the lives. So whether you're here when we're live or here listening later, enjoy it. And so what was fun was I just thought this family was a great example of, engaging the kids in the work that they did and having the fun and the creativity that the dad did and the mom did, and also allowing them to just do their own thing too, and they would support them in that. I know that middle daughter who wound up with all the hair and stuff, great soccer player. She was amazing. Played for the high school team, of course, and played from the time she was a little kid, and she was just really good at it. And so they were there for all of that too. So I just think that it is amazing and exciting to allow your kids to see what they do and let them see what you do for fun. So if you like hiking, if you like nature, get your kids involved. If you like painting and art, get your kids involved. And it's really fun when they're small, when they're, our little guys that we talk about all the time. I love just laying a bunch of stuff out on a table and say, oh, look at all this stuff. Can you make something out of this? Can you make something pretty? Can you make something scary? What would you like to make with all of this? And just let them have at it. They can have the little kiddo scissors. They can have, paints and markers and colored pencils and crayons, and they can find a medium that they enjoy. It's getting harder to find, hey, Nephi, good to see you. It's getting a little harder sometimes to find magazines, right? Because people are getting everything online. But if you have a chance to find some, and I would go to your thing, in Colorado, it was like ARC. I know there's Goodwill. There's a bunch of different St. Vincent's, all those kinds of places where you can go and get things for cheap and let them use that for part of their construction or what they like. What's really nice, so you've heard of the Montessori program, I think most people have, and she is all about child-led and having kids have appropriate tools. And so she was the first one, and she was out of Italy. She was the first one to have kids sitting in kid-sized chairs at kid-sized tables. It was an amazing thing that she would take the time to, get these things made and worked out. And so this was, 150, 200 years ago, but they had tools. And so one of the fun things, if you go to the, Harbor Freight or any of the stores that have tools, I've been able to find small hammers for my grandsons. I've been able to find small wrenches and different things like that. And, even at 4 years old, we give them some nails and a hammer and a piece of wood. And they're like, they think that's just the best thing in the world. And so now they're finding their creativity somewhere else. Let them try other things. Let them try new things. Don't be afraid of them. Oh, geez, a 4-year-old with a hammer. Yeah, it's the right size for them. It's the right weight for them. And it's real. It's a real hammer. Get them some of those smaller screwdrivers that will fit their hands, and they love doing stuff like that, and let them help that. I know that the Boy Scouts do the Pinewood Derby, right? Nephi, you did Pinewood Derbies, didn't you? And so that's a chance for these kids. They don't need to wait until they're 8 and in Scouts to do that. You can buy these kits online and then have fun with a 5 or 6-year-old and making their own car. That's so cool. And they're painting it and they're doing things. If you have a little girl that's interested, and I remember when I was a kid, and I don't know why I thought I had to hide it. My mom never did anything that made me think that I would have to hide it. But she sewed a lot, as most moms did back then. And I would take her scraps and I kind of hide them. I had this little drawer that had a secret compartment, and I would take her needles and threads, and I'm 4 or 5 years old, and I would try to sew things and put them together, and I loved that. And I remember when my mom found them, and she was like, DJ, what is all this material in your drawer for? And I thought somehow I would be in trouble, but I wasn't. And I just said, I want to sew. And she's like, okay. And so, she helped me sew. Now they've got these little sewing machines for little kids that you can use. And I see Nephi said that he did do the Pinewood Derby. I thought I knew you did Scouts. So, and he said his dad helped him with it. What a great way to connect with your kids, with the kiddo and dad or kiddo and mom, working together on some kind of a project that's fun. And it can be whatever the kids are interested in. So I have a question. Do you think that baseball is creative? Think about that one for a minute. Is baseball part of creativity? I say yes, it is. I say that, they're coming up with how to stand right, how to watch the ball, and we think that that's all, it's athletics, but athletics is creative. Look at all the different ways that baseball players stand. If you go and I watch baseball, but you can see it's really interesting in the pro levels. They all have their own stand, and when you have a team that you love and you watch often, many times someone comes up and you miss the announcement of who it is, and they're standing kind of sideways. You can't really see them, but I can tell who it is by the way they're standing at the base, because they all have their own unique, creative way of making that happen, right? And let me see. Oh, here, I'm not looking at the right thing. I see that Nephi has... Oh, here we go. Are you ready? This is great because this is something I truly, truly believe in, and I think it was great. He says, at 9 years old, I was pulling small engines apart and putting them back together. My dad knew I was doing that and never got mad at me. Wow, that is so fantastic. And that's another thing that I love to help build creativity is go to, again, Goodwill, Arc, whatever it is that's in your area, And I would get like toasters or I don't know, mixers, whatever thing. They're so cheap. Go ahead if the kids are really young, which is the kids I taught and worked with, because I did this for my kindergarten class. I would cut off the cord because I didn't want them, but they gave them a screwdriver and they knew the difference. There was the Phillips screwdriver and then there was the straight screwdriver, and let them go at it and take it apart and see what's inside and what's going on. And I love that Nephi said that he was trying to put them back together as well. And, and maybe they made it better. And so it's just an exciting thing to watch kids and see what they do. Stand back and let them see what they're doing. Just real quickly, I had one time when my youngest son, Christian, my little active boy, right? And I was in cleaning or something, and he was the only one left at home. He hadn't started kindergarten yet, and so he was still at home. And I was in doing laundry or something, and I came back in, and in the kitchen, he had taken the whole box of Cheerios and dumped it, the entire box. And at first I was really mad, but then I got looking at him, and he was like designing, putting them together, and then he'd take his fingers and he'd crush it against the floor. He'd try to crush it in his fingers, and you could tell he was experimenting with different things. Science, man, talk about creativity. Woohoo! I love science, and I love what it does for kids and letting them have science opportunities and projects. Another thing that you can do is if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, or even like Michael's and Joann's, they have kits. If you're not that, talented, or it's a lot of small work, but, you can go and do something with the kids. Every year when I was teaching, I had to have like a parent day, and the parents could come and see the classroom and be involved during the day. And I always did one in the fall, and that one was always, I would get these kits donated, and so that every child could have a kit and their parents could come and they could build. So we did a school bus one time, we did picture frames, we did pencil boxes, all kinds of things. But then you're working with your kid and letting them explore and understand how to do it. And I did it with 4-year-olds. In fact, even one year, because I was directing a preschool for the school district for a few years, and I did it with even 3-year-olds. And it was so cute. You'd see these dads. You never see these dads at school. But you'd see some of these dads come, and they'd sit down on these little teeny chairs, and they'd be working with their kid, and they were so proud and excited and engaged. And then these kids would come up and, that's my daddy. This is my daddy, right? And be so excited to show them off. So there's so many opportunities to be creative. Look at skateboarding. It's art. It's like dance on wheels. It's amazing. And so anyway, we talked a lot about that. And what was really fun was she shared a story that her mom had been a ballerina, and they're African American, and her mom they grew up in the why can't I think of it? In New Orleans, Nolo. Well, of course, New Orleans. And she was the first black ballerina. But when she got married, she married a guy that was very strong in a faith that looked down on dancing. And she actually gave it up for her sweetheart. And that led us into even a little talk about, we ventured into the religion realm for a little bit and talked about how religion and our childhood experiences, that can be creative too. And we had specifically dance. And we talked about how creative dance is and how it can be. And it was just a fun conversation. So I hope that you'll go and listen. It's this week's episode. So if you want to listen, it's just www.imperfectheroespodcast.com. You can see all of the episodes there, or just find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We are on basically all of the formats. And if you have a format that you find we're not on, would you let me know? Because we'll be sure and get on that one too. Yeah, we're on even Pandora and all kinds of them. Some I don't even know the names of, but we're trying to get on as many formats as we can. So we have a lot of fun and it's great. And so I hope that you will do that. And so I'm going to switch over. I'm going to go over to Instagram starting at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to share some more. So if you want to continue on, you can join us there. If not, no worries. And I want to say thank you for coming and being part of this. It just means the world to me when I see familiar names show up. Nephi, I really appreciate you. And so we will talk to you later. And until next week, let's find joy in parenting. Bye, guys.